your subconscious powerhouse. It's a part of the Power of Personal Achievement series of Brian Tracy. All of us are aware of it. Our mind is made of a certain conscious component, what we call the conscious mind. But what we may not be aware about is that what we call the subconscious mind is actually much, much, much bigger than our conscious mind. The comparison is that if the subconscious mind is, like a basketball, then this conscious mind is like a golf ball. Okay, that is the difference in scale. Just remember this, and let us look at one by one the various aspects related to the mind. So first, look at the conscious mind. So what are the features of the conscious mind? The conscious mind, everything that you can imagine, which is very logical and all that, is all associated with the conscious mind. It's very objective. It is skeptical, unemotional. It will kind of just look at data, cut through, things. It's very rational. It will look at facts and figures. Only based on facts and figures, it will take decisions. And it is discriminating. We tend to discriminate good, bad, right, wrong, like, dislike. All that is a part of the conscious mind. It keeps choosing between one and the other, something that is big or small, pretty or ugly, etc. Right. Now, the function of the conscious mind is that there are 4 functions that it has. One, it identifies the incoming data. See, for our survival, conscious mind is extremely critical because, on our day-to-day life, if we are not able to do this kind of analysis, we would just, not survive at all. So the 4 functions is, first, it identifies incoming data. Then that data which it has identified, it compares it with the previous experience. It will look at, okay, what is it that similar has been seen in the past, compares it. And then it will analyze the current situation. And based on this analysis, it decides what action to take. This is the function of the conscious mind. Now, as I said, if the conscious mind is, it's like a basketball which is kept under a golf ball. That is the kind of scale. But the other very interesting thing about the subconscious mind is that the speed at which the subconscious mind works is said to be 30,000 times faster than the conscious mind. Okay. So there are things that, conscious mind will take some time. It will analyze this, that, dissect and all that. Subconscious mind acts like that. Okay. This is another important thing. Just keep it in mind. The other thing about the subconscious mind, our subconscious powerhouse, is that it is a huge data bank. What data is it storing? So one of the roles is to store and retrieve data. Every single information, every single experience, every single thing, right from our infancy. Okay. Where you may not even remember, you may not be able to articulate right now, you will not recollect a single thing. Every single bit is stored in the subconscious mind. Okay. As an infant, if there is an incident that has happened, it is stored because this is, very well proven and documented, because people who are put under hypnosis, you can make them recollect things that have happened many, many, many years ago. Consciously, they cannot recollect at all that they would remotely recollect such a thing having happened. But under hypnosis, you can actually pull out these incidents. Okay, even as an infant. Now, the point is this, that as a memory, it is extremely powerful, but as a recall, it is extremely poor. So just imagine, like, everything is stored inside, but we are not recalling almost all of it. That's the reality. Now, the other interesting thing, please note this very, very carefully. The subconscious mind just follows instructions unquestioningly, unhesitatingly, and without deviation. Okay. So, and who's the person who's giving the command? The person who's giving command is the conscious mind. The conscious mind will say, do this, and the subconscious mind will just act on it without questioning it. Okay. So, if we kind of make a comparison between the conscious and the subconscious mind, the conscious mind commands, it gives the instructions, do this, do that, and subconscious mind obeys. Another beautiful analogy is the conscious mind is like the gardener and the subconscious mind is like the garden. Okay. Now I want you to actually visualize when we are saying this, the gardener and the garden, remember that there can be either flowers that can be grown, or if you are not consciously cultivating flowers, weeds will anyway grow. So the point is that we have the choice. That means here as a gardener, we have the choice. The conscious mind can be, if you take charge of the conscious mind in a certain way, you can actually have flowers growing in your subconscious. Okay. So the question is this: are you planting very positive, clear, constructive thoughts? That is the question. We will look at this in great depth in the subsequent slides today. So, if your conscious mind does not plant clear, goal-oriented, positive thoughts, right, then anyway weeds will grow and it will preoccupy us. What are the weeds? All the negative things that we typically experience, our fears, doubt, anxiety, frustration, tension, anger, all these things will anyway occupy the mind if we do not take a conscious decision to plant clear, goal-oriented, positive thoughts. We will look at this in more depth very soon. So, for most adults, the breakdowns that they experience in their adult life is all linked to just this, just the weeds growing. Okay, all these things, the fears, doubts, anxieties, all anger, tension, these are the things which are breaking down an adult life, right? And as we will see today, it is very, very possible to actually shift out of this. Consciously, we can do it. So it's like this, if you take an analogy of a weighing scale, right? Without doing anything, okay, negativity is the default mode. That is, you don't have to do anything, automatically display only negativity in our mind. Okay, this is true of most people. For some people, there are exceptions, but for almost everybody else, the default mode in which we operate is negativity, and for that you don't have to do anything. But if you want positivity to happen, you actually have to do work. There is effort that you have to take for positivity to come. Right. Now, the key roles of the conscious mind. What are the roles? It keeps our behavior consistent with previous behavior. That means whatever has happened in the past or whatever experiences have happened in the past, it will try to ensure that future experiences are consistent with that. This is one. In other words, you may recollect that we spoke about our self-concept. And we also spoke about in the last session or the previous session, we spoke about what we called the mini self-concept. That means for every area of our life, we have a self-concept that, I am capable of this. I can do it like this. I can do it this much. This is a self-concept that we have. And if you recollect, we discussed about something called the comfort zone. There is a 10% plus minus zone from that self-concept level, which is acceptable, which the mind can accept. Anything outside that is a zone of discomfort, and the mind will somehow scramble to get you into the comfort zone, right? So what we are saying is that the subconscious mind keeps our behavior consistent in a way that we are staying in the comfort zone of that self-concept. Now, there is something called the law of subconscious activity. Okay, it makes all words and actions consistent with our self-concept. In case some of you have not, you are not understanding what is self-concept, I will request you to watch the previous videos, the playlist. I am sharing it. So please watch the previous videos and please understand what we mean by the self-concept. Okay. Now, the role of the subconscious mind, the second role that is there is that it makes our words and action consistent with what we believe about ourselves, what image we have about ourselves, our self-concept. Now, the interesting thing is this. Please note this carefully. The very interesting thing. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between a real event or something that is vividly imagined. Okay, I'm repeating it again. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between a real event that happens or something that is vividly imagined. Okay, in other words, you have the power to transform your thinking by taking one success experience. Just take one success experience. This success experience may be real or it could even be imagined. That means you have had no success experience. You are just creating an image of a success experience in your mind. You take that one success experience and you keep replaying it in your mind. If you keep replaying it, the subconscious mind treats it that it's a new success event. Every time you replay it, every time the subconscious mind believes that, yes, oh, it's happened again. And when this has repeatedly happened, as we said earlier, the subconscious mind's attempt is to keep it consistent with previous experiences. So it will say, so we will look at it the next slide. Just replaying a success experience builds self-confidence. Okay. So what if you do not have a success experience so far? What do? Then you just create one in your mind. Okay, vividly create a success experience in your mind. This is what we mean by directing the movies of your life. It is make your own mental movie. In your own mental movie, you get to be the star, you get to be the scriptwriter, the cinematographer, the director, everything is you. Whatever you make of the movie is the movie. Okay, the choice is that you can make it a positive story or a negative story. That is the choice you have. So you can create a fantastic positive story, right? So you create that mental picture and you imagine it exactly the way it would work out if it was perfect. If everything worked out just right, how beautifully it would work out. Create a mental picture of it. Okay, create your movie where you are the star in that movie, you are the one who's shooting it, everything. You are the one who's doing it, right?
Sure.
And
It's
the
like making.
the beauty is that the subconscious mind will accept it. Even though it is not a real experience, it will treat it as a real experience. Not only as a real experience, it will treat it as a command to act on it. That is what is possible by just creating positive mental pictures. Why are we repeatedly saying that, create, have positive reinforcements? We've discussed it in the past. It is because there is something so hugely powerful inside. We don't even realize what potent stuff we have inside. And if you play it right, if you use it right, you can actually use it to your advantage. So the subconscious mind will not only treat this as a real experience, but it will treat it as a command and do everything possible to make more of such experiences happen. That means right now you've not had, any success experience, but when you mentally create it and play it 10 times, 20 times, 50 times, it will start happening in reality. The subconscious mind, as we said, is extremely powerful and it operates very quickly. Remember, we said it is 30,000 times faster than the conscious mind, right? So once you are pre-programmed for success, see, once you create your whole way of working, that you are continuously creating positive images. Once you are pre-programmed for success, success will keep repeating again and again and again. Just think, I want you to really just pause and think of what a powerful possibility we have in our hand. Very simple, just creating a movie, even if it is there, replay it. If it is not there, create a movie and keep replaying it of how perfectly you want everything to happen, whichever area of your life. Just imagine how perfectly it is happening as the whole thing has played out and you know, things are all falling in place and how wonderful you're feeling about it and all that. And once you have programmed yourself like this repeatedly, it will start happening. Okay, now there is something called the law of concentration. What it says is that whatever you dwell upon grows. This is kind of an extension of what we have spoken about earlier. Uh, that's why, what if you keep dwelling on negative things, that negative things will keep growing in our life, the experience of it and happening in our life. If you focus on positive things will grow. So what you dwell upon grows. You visualize this. I want you to make a comparison that as if this whole mind of ours is like a computer storage space. Okay. Now, inside this, there is one small goal of yours you have put inside. Now, if you start dwelling upon this goal of yours, keep rethinking. You remember, we have spoken all along, we've been speaking that uh, one of the what do you call, key steps in our entire process is, we said, write down your goals first. Second, we said every day just open and revisit your goals. Now watch the magic about what this can do. Imagine that our mind is like a computer space. The law of concentration, whatever you dwell upon grows. So once you are keeping on dwelling on your goal, the whole, the way the subconscious works is, it says that, oh, this is what is kind of preoccupying him. Let us give more space in the brain for this. And you'll find that the mind has given more space for your goals. And that will start growing. It will start occupying more and more of your mental space, right? So if you keep dwelling upon the goal, the subconscious mind will allocate more and more space for that goal, right? So here is something that Peter Drucker, he is called the father of management thinking. This is what he had to say about, just read the statement. Whenever anything is being accomplished, it is being done by a monomaniac with a mission. When I first read the word monomaniac, I was wondering what this word means, and I thought it has a negative connotation. I would like you to go back and check the meaning of the word monomaniac. It's a very beautiful meaning. It is somebody who is uh, obsessively and enthusiastically obsessed with just one thing. Okay, so I want you to look back. Any significant thing that has happened anywhere in the world, it is because there is somebody who was so obsessed with it, like with such a passion, with such an obsessive passion, somebody has focused on it and they made it a reality. So whenever anything is being accomplished, it is being done by a monomaniac with a mission. And that is what we are here talking about. That if you repeatedly kind of keep revisiting your goals, what is important for you again and again, your entire mind will be consumed by it. So unfortunately for most of us, what we do, we waver between the positive, negative. So there will be some positive thought which will come, and immediately after that, some negative thoughts. We will kind of think of something else. We will drift. We will, this keeps happening. So therefore, the positive thoughts and the negative thoughts just keep canceling each other, and we are just stuck where we are. But if we continue to keep dwelling on what is important, right? If you are 100% totally committed to your goal achievement, okay, then the more you think about it, the more of your mind and emotions get taken over by it, okay? And until you come to a point where you cannot think of anything else, there is nothing else that will run in your mind except things that are really important for you, okay? And then what happens is that all resources become available to you. From where? One is all the resources of your subconscious mind completely becomes available. Not only that, you also start attracting resources relevant to making this succeed in your life. If you recollect, we have spoken about the 7 mental laws. One of the laws is where if you, whatever you keep focusing on, you start attracting that into your life, right? Which is why, again, we again say, don't keep focusing on the negative things, focus on positive, because you are attracting that into your life. Unknowingly or knowingly, we are just attracting whatever we give our mind space to, that's what we are attracting into our life. So here is a complete process that is possible where we completely focus ourselves on what is really important for us, our goals. You keep thinking about it, the more and more your mind and emotions get over until it becomes just your whole body, mind, everything is just focused there. And it is not only your subconscious resources getting allocated, you are also automatically attracting other resources from outside, other people, the like-minded people, all these things start getting attracted. Just think of the beauty of this possibility, of this law of concentration. So successful people are really clear about what they want. This is the difference between somebody who's successful and somebody who's not. Somebody who's successful is very, very clear about what they want. And the more they think about it, the more ideas they have, and the more positive they will become. Okay, so thinking about your, just think of it. I want you to just, pause and think about things that are really important for you. When you think of your goal, something that you really want, does it not make you feel happier? When you really think of those beautiful goals that you want, does it not raise your self-confidence, right? And suppose you were thinking of your big goals, really, what we talk of completely unrealistic kind of goals. Okay. If you are thinking of such goals, then your whole self-image gets raised, your self-esteem gets raised, and you begin to like yourself even more. I want you to just pause and just think of this, that just experience it for yourself. When you think of your goals, how do you feel? How does it make you feel? Here is a very interesting exercise I want you to do. As we are going through the slides, I want you to work with this exercise. Okay. Now decide today, make a decision just now today to be in the top 10% in your field. Whatever your field is, you decide, I am going to be in the top 10% of it. Okay. What does it mean? In terms of being absolutely excellent in what you do. That means you're in the top 10%. Means what does it mean? You're absolutely the go-to person, the best person in this space. One. Second is, even in terms of your income earning, you automatically are in the top 10% of in your field. Okay. Just imagine yourself this thing. Take a decision today that I'm going to do this. Okay. Write down your decision. Okay. Set it as a goal. Make a plan and work on it until you get there. Okay. Now, I want you to realize this, that everyone who is today in the top 10%, they started at the bottom 10% at some point in time, maybe some years ago, many years ago, whatever time they started at the bottom 10%. They were not born with the top 10%. Okay. So everyone who is at the top 10% today started at the bottom 10%. One. Second, remember that nobody is smarter or better than you. Whatever others are capable of, equally or more, you are also capable of. Just remember this. I want you to realize this very clearly. Okay. So in other words, you can also be in that top 10%. Okay. When can that happen? One, if you take your decision today, take a decision that I am going to be in the top 10%. One. Second, work on it till you achieve it. Right? Now, also, I want you to realize this, that suppose you are in the top 10%, right? You will be making more money, right? You will move faster in your career. Whatever is the chosen path that you want, you will be moving much, much, much faster in your career. Can you visualize this? You will automatically be more respected, right? And you will have much more pride and self-confidence. Do you realize this? If you are in the top 10%, automatically these things will happen. There will be money, there will be fast career growth, you'll be respected, there will be, and as a person, you will just be brimming with confidence and pride, right? Now, is that not a neat idea? Is it not? Just taking a decision, right? Will it not solve a lot of your problems? Imagine that you are in the top 10%. Suppose all these things happen. Is it not a fantastic idea, and will it not solve so many of the problems that you're facing right now? Now, my question is this: how do you feel right now? We have spoken whatever we have spoken. How do you feel? Do you like yourself more right now? Just now, I'm asking you. Do you like yourself more? Are you having a better self-image of yourself now? Are you feeling is your self-image better? Do you feel like a different person just now in this exercise that we have done so far? Do you feel like a different person? Now remember, you have not even taken one step. You have not even moved your finger. You have not got out of the table. What have you done? The only thing that you have done is that you have taken a decision. Just look at the power of taking a decision. If you take a pakka decision, the first step gets taken, that already you start moving in that direction, even without taking a single step. Just taking a firm decision has an extraordinary impact on our life. Remember this. Be clear that whatever things that are happening in your life, just look at it and take a firm decision. Which direction do you want to go? Just taking that step will start making an impact. There is something else called the law of substitution. Okay. What it says is that you can replace one thought with another thought. You remember we have spoken about it in one of the previous sessions also, that at a time you can have only one thought in your mind. You can have either a positive thought or you can have a negative thought. Whatever thought is there, only one thought can be there. But now the law of substitution says that it is within your control to replace one thought with another thought. So, given that you can have only one thought in your mind, right? If there is a negative thought, all you need to do is to just replace it with a positive one. Just doing this, that if you keep dwelling on what is important for you, if you keep dwelling on your desires, your fears will automatically start diminishing. You don't have to actually work on your fears. You just keep focusing on what is positive, what is important for you, what is it that you really like. Just keep focusing on that. The rest of what all those things that we consider negative will automatically start diminishing. So, to sum up, the key to unlocking your mental power is you start by taking purposeful, systematic control over the content of your conscious mind. Remember that all these decisions that you're going to take is a conscious decision, that you're going to push out a negative thought and replace it with a positive thought, right? So take purposeful, systematic control over the content of your conscious mind. One. Second, very, very important. Think and talk only of the things you want. In other words, what I'm saying is, do not think and talk of what you do not want. The unfortunate thing that most of us unknowingly and unconsciously we keep doing is we keep focusing on what we don't want. And we are surprised that what we don't want is all over the place and all over our life. Such a simple thing. Think and talk only of the things you want. Second. And thirdly, repeat over and over and over. I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. So, I think okay, this is a wrong slide. So this is the end of our session for today. The power of our subconscious mind. It's an unbelievable powerhouse. I want to conclude today's session with a short story which was narrated by Brian Tracy. So Brian Tracy was traveling to some place, I think it was Atlanta. So at Atlanta, where he ran into one person who was a very successful stand-up comedian in his own right. So he met him and he profusely thanked Eric Worre for whatever he had attended a session of Eric Worre more than 12 years ago. So whatever happened in that session, he profusely thanked him. So Eric Worre asked him what exactly happened. So what he said is that during that session, Eric Worre had told all the participants to write down 101 goals. Of course, most people would have not taken it seriously, but this person, he actually took this 101 goals writing very seriously. So although he did not do it initially, he started off and he wrote 10 goals and then 20 goals and all that. In course of time, a matter of some weeks, he managed to complete his 101 goals. And then, he used to keep going through that goals, just looking at it as days went by, weeks went by. And over a course of time, he forgot about it and the book got left somewhere. So he said that just a few weeks ago, I happened to find this book and I was just going through the goals that I had written 12 years ago. The interesting thing that he said, and this person was almost in tears. He's a very professional, very successful, competent stand up comedian. He was almost in tears, choking. With a choking voice, he was saying that out of that 101 goals, it is not that, 10 goals got fulfilled, 20, 50, not even 100. All 101 goals, he said, had got fulfilled. So, the beauty of the story is the point that Eric Worre is making is that the significance of writing down the goals. When we start writing down the goals, the impact it has is that it starts working in our subconscious mind. And as a part of our process, we keep telling everyone, once you write down the goals, daily revisit the goals. Just flip through it, look at the goals, try and visualize it in as vividly as you can, as clearly as you can. This process, I have heard it from repeatedly from multiple people. This process of writing down, revisiting regularly, and vividly imagining it is remarkably powerful, and it can actually lead to fantastic results. So thank you very much. That's the end of today's session.